Do you think it's time Sony gave us a 4TB version PS5 Pro, or 2 tiny terabytes is enough for you?
Yeesh, indictment of the times that we're saying 2 tiny terabytes in reference to game storage. Like, ironic or not, the fact we're even here is depressing. Yup, we're doing one of these again. A nice wonderful video called PS5 Pro Better Than RTX 4090. Lead architect Mark Cerny explains why PS5 tech rules. Yes, we're comparing the tech of a console that doesn't even exist yet and that we have no benchmarks on to PC tech that's available right now and is already significantly more powerful than the best console on the market, because we somehow still buy into the lie that consoles will ever have a technical advantage over PCs. Like, you don't have to make this argument. Like, there's plenty of other angles for you guys to take if you really want to boost the consoles and put down the PC, but you console dudes keep insisting on taking the hardware and game performance angle, and flippin' rest assured you're gonna keep losing that angle for obvious reasons. PC tech is more powerful than console tech, and even if a console came out somehow that had better performance than every gaming PC ever made, it's not going to hold that title for very long, because PC tech continues to evolve while consoles are stagnant for years at a time. But we're still doing this. This is what we're still doing in the middle of 2024, the peak year for console pointlessness. And usually in video responses, I do my best not to insult the creator of the video and just focus on what they're saying, but since you're insisting on using an AI voiceover, you've brought judgment and destruction upon you and your lineage. So I'm going to click on your channel. Channel is called Daily Hub Ranks, and their profile picture is just an AI woman. You look through their content, and it's basically all just PlayStation simping, I guess, and really, really poorly done social commentary. So we've got someone choosing to LARP as an AI woman while either being an unironic corporate slave for Sony, which is cringe, or they're 24/7 pretending to be a corporate slave for Sony, which I would argue is even more cringe. But what's their bio? Let's read their bio. That gives us some insight as to who they are. Independent gaming / tech journalism, tech insights, gaming, predictions, and everything that lights up the digital universe. Our motto, asking what is the point of upgrading from PS5 to a PS5 Pro is like asking why upgrade from an NVIDIA RTX 3060 to a RTX 4090. Ethical reporting. Although we believe in ethical reporting and providing true facts, we might occasionally get things wrong. If we do, we will address it promptly. Oh boy. Also, I really enjoy this pinned comment on the video here, asking what game desperately needs to be enhanced by the PS5 Pro, and then their answer is Red Dead 2. A game that can already be enhanced by the very PC tech that you're going to be trying to diss in this video. Like, you're here simping for the PS5 Pro when it hasn't even been announced yet. The specs haven't been officially announced. There are no benchmarks on the PS5 Pro, and you're dissing the PC as a gaming platform, but then proclaiming to the world that you're looking forward to using this unannounced and unproven console to do something that the PC can already do, which is run Red Dead 2 at alleged PS5 Pro quality. I just think that's funny. I just think that's neat. But anyways, let's get into this nonsense, because a viewer sent this to me, and damn it if I don't appreciate it when you guys send me things you want me to respond to, because it makes my job easier, even if it means I have to suffer through fucking 16 minutes and 51 seconds of this shit. Oh my lord. Okay, let's see how long I last.
Go ahead and leave your answer in the comments section, and we'll get back to this topic very soon in the video.
Oh good, I'm so glad. I'm really excited.
I keep getting this question, even when half the video is dedicated to all the reasons why we need the PS5 Pro, and there are no games.
I mean, I for one enjoy the PS5 has no games meme. I mean, notice how you're currently talking about not having games instead of having games.
Brother, you are confusing PlayStation with Xbox.
Xbox has more games than PlayStation. Like, console war aside, if we're talking about the number of playable games on each platform, the Xbox has more games than the PlayStation.
Next Gen is here, and the PlayStation platform is where you can experience top-notch gaming.
Next Gen is here, which is why we're still making PS4 ports of new games. It's why your games are still struggling to maintain a locked 1080p 60. It's why you're getting games with forced ray tracing, even if it completely tanks your potential performance. Next Gen gaming, even though Sony is only just now getting around to actually supporting backwards compatibility. And like, as cool as it is to see people supporting old PS2 games, and apparently PS3 games are coming soon as well, as cool as it is to see this, I'm not gonna give you a high five for doing it, Sony. You've only been turning your back on backwards compatibility, proper backwards compatibility, for how fucking long now? You're not gonna get a gold star just because you do it 4 years into the PS5 generation, all the while still apparently not even dreaming of making the PS5 cheaper. I don't even remember the last time a console came out and then 4 years into the generation saw basically no price drop.
Furthermore, all you PC Master Race people in the comment section screaming how superior PC is, most of you play on budget PCs that are more expensive than a PS5.
The article you're sourcing there is interesting if that's actually your source for the statement. You said that most PC gamers are running budget builds, but then what seems to be your source is this, an article referencing a Steam survey from either September or October of 2023 that simply said the RTX 3060 is the most used GPU on Steam, and it accounts for 6% of users. You're saying the majority of PC gamers are playing on budget builds, all because 6% of Steam players are on a 3060. And the 3060, I wouldn't exactly call a budget card. It's certainly not a very expensive card. Like, all things considered, it's definitely cheaper. But if we're talking about performance, I wouldn't consider this budget. No, I would consider a budget PC to be something in like the 20 series, maybe a 10 series card. But like, the point I'm getting at is a 3060 is still getting you very good performance. Just because it's not the best performance doesn't mean that any PC with a 3060 in it is now a budget PC. There's more to it than that. Later in this screenshot, it says that the second and third most popular GPUs in that Steam survey were the 1650 and the 1060 respectively. Those I would call more budget cards, sure. But this is also jumping straight over the bigger point and the bigger problem with your argument that there's nothing wrong with playing on a budget PC. And a budget PC, in many ways, can still get you better performance than what the consoles have to offer. It's all dependent on the game. I actually used to have a 1060. That was one of the first cards I ever had. And I played at 1080p, 144 FPS on basically everything. Like, can the consoles even do that right now? Like, you can cry budget card all you want, but at the end of the day, we don't have hard performance caps like console ports do. And we also don't have locked settings like console games do. So even a budget card, in many ways, in a lot of games, I would say depending on the card, most games can certainly match the console's frame rate or the console's resolution. It might not look exactly the same, but a lot of PC gamers don't care about that. Because a lot of PC gamers play indie games. We play less demanding games. We play PvP games. You get what I'm saying out here? You're making a big blanket statement about how the majority of PC gamers are playing on budget builds, all based off the fact that this Steam survey said people were using a 3060, even though the 3060 is technically more powerful than a PS5. So like, really, what do you even define as budget? Like, if you're trying to argue that a 3060 is a budget card, the 3060 still outperforms the PlayStation 5. So what are you even trying to say? How is this an argument?
Almost no PC gamer plays 4K natively. You need $1,500 just to appreciate some games in 4K at 60 FPS.
We have graphical settings, it's not really true. I mean, you can look up plenty of videos online about people testing the RTX 3060 specifically in 4K games, and results vary because, again, there's different graphical settings. Not every game runs at 4K 60 exactly the same on the same hardware, the same way that not everything runs at the same performance metrics on the PlayStation. Different games are programmed differently and optimized differently. But if the argument is that you need $1,500 to get 4K 60, I'm here to tell you you're wrong, because the card that you called budget 5 seconds ago is still physically capable of 4K 60. So, again, I really don't know what point you're trying to make.
PS5 and PS5 Pro are marvels of technology.
PS5 Pro is not out, and the PS5 is certainly not a marvel of technology. I don't even know how you can say that unironically.
Offering incredible value for the price and ridiculous performance.
Ridiculous performance being the same exact frame rate caps that we've been capped at for like 20 years now on the console. Amazing, amazing performance. Can't even guarantee above 30 frames per second for the graphical modes. But yeah, mind-blowing performance there. And in a growing number of cases can't promise above 30 FPS, period, But yes, amazing technical feats here. Great pieces of hardware. Super next gen. Definitely worth $500 in the current year.
Right now, we can find PS5s on Amazon for as low as $400.
Oh, you went right into the price point. Also, lol, you can find it as low as $400. Screenshot says $450. I too can read numbers well.
There is no PC at $400 that can even come close to the PS5.
Steam Deck.
And you cannot prove me wrong. Try to play Horizon Forbidden West on a $400 PC.
I mean, from what I understand, Horizon Forbidden West actually runs pretty well on the Steam Deck. So, little awkward.
Or The Last of Us remake, or even Spider-Man 2. Oh wait, you don't have Spider-Man 2 yet.
Yet. Can't forget the yet there. And technically we do have Spider-Man 2, actually. Remember that big Insomniac hack? Yeah, there's a PC version of the game that's actually getting worked on by a group of fans and getting passed around the internet. So, yes, actually, if you really want to play Spider-Man 2 on the PC right now, there is technically an option for that. I wouldn't super recommend it, partially because of all the potential trouble you can get in for hunting that thing down, but also just due to the fact that it's not finished. It's probably not the best representation of that game. But if we're getting to the nitty-gritties, yes, Spider-Man 2 exists on the PC right now, and even if you don't want to count that, by your own admission, it's coming.
But on PS5, we can play Spider-Man 2 at 1440p with full ray tracing enabled at 60 FPS.
Yeah, funny that you bring that up. Ray tracing, at least at launch on Spider-Man 2, I don't give a shit, so I haven't been keeping up with the updates, but I know for a fact that at launch, and potentially now, ray tracing was force-enabled across the board. So like performance mode, fidelity mode, ray tracing was always enabled, and you bet your fat bahookie that made the performance nosedive, especially in performance mode where it's targeting 60 FPS. The game looks like this. Like, I love how we just weren't supposed to talk about this when Spider-Man 2 came out. The game in performance mode looks like a PS2 game, largely because ray tracing was force-enabled in performance mode. They couldn't even be fucked to give you the option to turn it off. And also, about the other thing you said, according to Digital Foundry's analysis of Spider-Man 2 when the game first came out, if you're playing on performance mode to get that 60 FPS target, you're sitting somewhere between 1440 and 1008p. You're not getting locked 1440p like you say. It drops below 1080 to maintain that frame rate, and it's not even like the frame rate is locked at 60, it drops. Meanwhile, looking at the recommended hardware for the current unofficial PC port of Spider-Man 2, this is like, you're looking at the spec chart for the version that the fans are working on based off what was leaked a while back. And if you have a 2070, a card from 2018, you're getting 1080p at 45 to 60 FPS. So this 6-year-old card is getting you performance comparable to the PS5 on performance mode. A 6-year-old card is doing that. And remember, this is the leaked build of Spider-Man 2 that's being worked on by fans. This is not the officially finished or officially optimized build of the game. But look at this spec chart. If this unofficial version of the game has these as the recommended specs, just imagine what's going to be done with the actual finished version of the game, especially if Nixxes has assigned this port the way they were assigned the first one. You see why it's so dumb for console dudes to keep trying to make the performance and power argument? It's literally never going to be a winning point for you. But you keep trying it, and it's only getting worse for you.
You can't even play the first Spider-Man on a $400 PC at 1080p with ray tracing enabled and running at 60 FPS.
1080p with ray tracing enabled, 1080p 60. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell you how much money you would actually need to make a build like that. I just can't be bothered to look this up right now, but that's really not the angle that I'm gonna come at you here with. Why do you care about big graphical high points? You know what I'm saying? Why do you care about these really specific high points? 1080p, 60 FPS, ray tracing enabled, $400. Like, why do you need all these numbers specifically? Could it be because you don't actually want to look at the bigger picture? Which is the fact that, yes, the gaming PC is usually more expensive than a console because it is better than a console. It gives you more in return. So of course it costs more. It is a better product. But you don't want to look at things that way because that's not an argument you can win. So you're putting all these arbitrary numbers on things. In order for you to admit defeat in this debate, you have to be shown a $400 PC that can do 1080p, 60 FPS, ray tracing on Spider-Man Remastered. But it's like, why is that the point you're using to argue in favor of the console or against the PC? Why are you making such specific judgments and specific guidelines and specific requirements for this debate? The whole thing that we like about the PC is that there aren't specifics. We don't have to constantly be shooting for the highest possible thing. It's like you said, a lot of PC gamers are using budget builds. Why would they be doing that if there wasn't merit to it?
Wake up, people, seriously. Stop with the argument that there are no PS5 games.
Notice how he's talking about no PS5 games instead of having PS5 games?
I swear I did research on a lot of people who either comment or make these types of videos, and what I found is that they don't even own a PS5.
Why is that a shocker? If you're critical of something, a lot of the times it's because you don't want to buy it, or it's because you had it and were disappointed and got rid of it. Like, why is this a dunk? I'm critical of Sony and I don't want their product. Of course I don't own their product. I don't want it. You're critical of the PC, but I can absolutely tell you don't own a gaming PC. Does that mean I get to dismiss everything you say? I mean, the answer to that question is yes, but for other reasons.
They don't even know what games are on there.
PC gamers absolutely know what games are on the PS5. It's none.
But who am I with only 2,800 subs to make such bold statements? Well, I'm nobody. Even with 100k subs, I'm nobody.
I mean, if you have 100k subs, you generally do. You have some kind of status, and you generally are. I would say you are somebody anyways.
By the way, you should totally subscribe, but I want to introduce you to someone who's more qualified than me.
That's right, it's the random guy on the corner waiting for the bus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mark Cerny, the architect. When making consoles, we're not trying to build low-cost PCs.
Why are you constantly comparing it to the PC then? Why is this a winner? Why is this a winner point? Why is it a winner point for you to say that the architect of the PS5 is not trying to build PCs and that's why you are comparing it to the PC 1-to-1? Why are you like this?
I have been very surprised by the degree to which developers are using ray tracing, he begins. Putting that in, that was a big decision, and actually a rather late one. I thought that this is not going to get much use initially, but if we look at generations, and a generation is 7 years or so, software is created for 10 years.
Yeah, software being created for the same hardware for 10 years, that's not a good thing. How is that good for the consumer? How is that good for the longevity of the experience? This doesn't benefit you.
And so later in the life cycle, we will start seeing people using that technology.
Oh, later in the life cycle, we'll see people utilizing ray tracing? Oh, okay. I mean, it's a detriment now. It's certainly a detriment to the console game performance now. Oh, but just you wait. And later in the life cycle of the hardware, when the hardware is even more outdated than it is now, that's when we're really gonna see the good stuff. It's always the future with you people. It's always the future. Buy the thing now, because in 5, 6, 7 years, then it'll be worth it. Then wait 5 to 7 years to buy the thing. What are you on about?
But instead, we had launch titles that were taking advantage of it.
Oh, okay. I see. He's saying that he thought that ray tracing would be used later down the line, but then there were launch titles using ray tracing. My goodness, oh golly, that's so amazing. Because again, ray tracing is just such an amazing improvement to the console game experience. See, we were designing this thing to sell you that was only going to follow through on its promises later in the generation, but oh, how wonderful it is and how gracious we are for following through on it earlier than that. Oh, how generous you are, Sony, thank you. You sold us a thing that immediately followed through on its promises, kind of, not really. I feel so special as a consumer.
I guess having worked on games for consoles that were a bit difficult to get into, like the PlayStation 3, I can be a little skittish about very deep technology like that. But in this case, my guess as to how things would go was totally wrong, and I am so happy to have seen the early adoption of the technology.
I like how he's talking as if people weren't going to be flogging ray tracing from day one on the new consoles. From the beginning of the marketing for the PS5 and the Xbox Series, they were talking about ray tracing. I like how he's talking now like, oh, we didn't actually expect anyone to use it right away. Really? Because you sure did buzzword the fuck out of it for like 3 years. I would hope that people were going to use the thing. Otherwise, why were you buzzwording it if you didn't think anyone was going to use it? What?
The other thing that has been surprising is the push to 60 frames per second.
Notice how it's a push and not a guarantee.
Based on previous console life cycles, I would have expected there to be a lot more games that are 30 frames per second only, just because the artwork can be so much more detailed if you have longer time to render it.
Again, how is this supposed to make us feel better? You're just openly talking about how you were expecting developers to use 30 frames per second on the hardware that you just made. Like, you're designing the hardware with the belief that it's going to be used for 30 frames per second. And you're saying this like it's a win for the consumer. Like, what?
Instead, the almost universal rule this time around has been the games run at 60.
They literally do not even games from Sony. If you want the nice big old graphical mode, the mode with graphics that are the reason you bought the console for the good graphics, if you want that mode, it's 30. Even Sony's own games are 30. My favorite example being Last of Us 2 Remastered. The PS5 version of Last of Us 2, which was visually identical to the PS4 version. The PS4 version ran at 30 frames per second. The PS5 version, that looks identical, is also 30 frames per second. That's my favorite example of PS5 games running at 60 frames per second, apparently. You fucking doofus.
It's great from a play perspective. Gamers overwhelmingly prefer games that are higher frame rates.
Yeah, they do. 60 frames always feels better than 30 frames. Always, always, always. But you were designing the console thinking it was going to be used at 30? How is this a W?
I just didn't expect such a departure from previous generations. Cerny says building a console takes about 4 years, and nowadays that's less time than it takes to make some of the big AAA titles.
Yeah, game development is getting way too long because people like you keep insisting that it have the most amazing graphics possible, and when you have the most amazing graphics possible, it becomes more of an optimization nightmare for the consoles. Game development taking longer than hardware development is not a good thing in the slightest, and it's all your fault.
There is a lot of focus right now on the time it takes to build these games, and Cerny says that ultimately it's the developers that have chosen this path.
Yes, when the developers do a good thing, like use 60 frames instead of 30 frames like you expected, or use ray tracing instead of not ray tracing like you expected. When the devs do that, you're like, oh man, it sure is great. But then when game development takes longer, now you're like, that's bad. Isn't it fun being a Sony exec? You get to take credit for the developer's work when you want to, but then distance yourself from the developers when it's inconvenient. I love it. It's great. Must be awesome being a Sony exec.
And I see people asking, if the time to triangle has been greatly reduced, why is it then taking so many years to create a game? And the answer is that is what the teams are choosing to do. They are going after these massive creations that really do need 4 or 6 years to put together.
And that's not a good thing. That's why indie and AA development has been really taken off recently, while AAA development is a fucking nightmare, like all around. AAA gaming is in a horrible place right now, and I absolutely believe that is largely in part to the industry's insistence that everything needs to be as realistic as possible with the art styles, and that mindset is pushed in no small part by companies like Sony.
One of the exciting aspects of console hardware design is that we have freedom with regards to what we put in the console.
No, you don't. By definition, you don't. What?
Cerny begins. Or to put that differently, we're not trying to build a low-cost PC, and we aren't bound by any particular standards.
The console is, by definition, a piece of hardware bound to standards. It's a one-piece, non-customizable... What?
So, if we have a brainstorm, that audio can become much more immersive and dimensional if there's a dedicated unit that's capable of complex math, then we can do that. Or, if the future feels like high-speed SSDs rather than HDDs, we can put an end-to-end system in the console.
Yeah, once every 8 years.
Everything from the flash dies to the software interfaces that the game creators use, and get 100% adoption. I like to think that occasionally we're even showing the way for the larger industry, and that our efforts end up benefiting those gaming on PC as well.
Yeah, because everyone's jumping ship from the consoles to come to the PC, which means there's more competition and more incentive for companies to make good products on the PC. So I guess you're right, it does benefit us, just not in the way that you were expecting. And I promise we move on from this interview. He's just reading through the Mark Cerny, fucking Mark. God damn it, Mark. He's just reading through the interview. I promise he'll start putting in his garbage fucking opinions again soon.
It's a tech-heavy example, but on PS4 we had very efficient GPU interfaces.
Oh, did you now? The PS4 was just so technically efficient. Wonderful. And
that may well have spurred DirectX to become more efficient in response.
Today I learned DirectX was inspired by the technical efficiency of the PS4. And this is your reminder to never take anything that these people say seriously. God damn it, these companies are so fucking full of themselves.
Or to look at something more consumer-focused, I believe that releasing PS5 in 2020 with a very high-performance integrated SSD put pressure on the PC world to get their corresponding direct storage API into the hands of their gamers.
So, consoles getting SSDs years and years and years after PCs got SSDs, that inspired PC hardware developers to make SSDs. And you're just going with this. You're just going with everything he's saying. That's the worst part. You're not even questioning it. This is such blatant PR speak. It's nonsense.
He points to an amusing video by Linus Tech Tips, which attempted to kill the PlayStation 5 by building a $500 gaming PC that outperformed the console.
People building PCs are not going out and being like, well, I'm going to build a PC, but I'm only going to use as much money as I would spend on a console. Like, no, if you've decided to build a gaming PC, chances are you've also accepted the fact that it's going to cost more than that. Building console-priced PCs is a fun experiment, but it shouldn't be portrayed as a detriment to the platform like you're trying to portray it.
They had to get a used motherboard, he says.
There's literally nothing wrong with used parts.
That was the only way that they could build a PlayStation 5 equivalent for a PlayStation 5 price.
Oh, so if you want a PlayStation 5 equivalent PC for the price of a PlayStation 5, the only downside is you have to buy a used motherboard? That's the only problem with that? That's the best negative you can come up with? Really? That sounds like a huge dub for the PC. Are you kidding me?
And if you're using used parts, well, you can get a used PlayStation 5 for eBay for $300 something. I think as long as we continue to create that very nice package, the future of consoles is pretty bright.
He's done quoting the guy now. We're getting into his actual opinions here. Bro, we're 5 minutes into this video. There's 11 minutes left. I'm so not making it through this one. Oh my god.
And I'll tell you what, I think GTA 6 will be the definitive way to experience the PS5 Pro.
So the definitive way to experience the PS5 Pro is with a multi-platform game that's coming to PC? Really?
We're hearing so many rumors about this game. It's going to have 70% of all buildings enterable, super smart NPCs, and extensive interactions with most characters on the map.
Yes, thank you to the PlayStation 5 team for bringing that experience to us. Wait a minute.
We've seen iterations of this in RDR2,
a game that plays best on the PC.
But GTA 6 is expected to take it to the next level.
And it will play best, again, on PC.
GTA 6 is coming in 2025, and it won't be available on PC for another 1 or 2 years after that. The PS5 Pro is releasing this year, and it's going to fly off the shelves faster than you can say PC gaming is better.
Okay, first of all, we have no confirmation that the PS5 Pro is releasing this year. Even if it does, I don't think that affects any point that you've made, but there's literally no confirmation the PS5 Pro is coming this year. So why are you so confident about that? But also, PC gamers don't mind waiting for games because we have way more games to play while we wait than you do. PC gamers are also not nearly as concerned with AAA hype culture as consoles are because of the sheer number of games that we have, because of the number of AA and indie games and retro games and emulated games that we have. Why would we completely tie our gaming experience and our gaming opinions to just AAA games? Like, why would we care? We have more games than anyone. We have more games than anyone will ever be able to play. Why would we lose sleep over having to wait a little bit for the superior version of one more?
Everyone is going to buy a PS5 Pro. You need to understand how big this is for Sony. You have no idea. The PS5 Pro is going to be the best-selling console of all time, just because they are the only ones confirmed to release a mid-gen upgrade.
Wait, so the PS5 Pro is going to be the best-selling console of all time because it will be the only mid-gen upgrade. You think this is going to be the best-selling console of all time simply because it won't have competition from other companies trying to get you to buy the same console again. I'm gonna pee my pants. What is this?
Xbox has already released their revised models. To answer another question, someone asked me how I am so sure that the PS5 Pro will launch with a 2TB SSD. I always quote my sources in the description, but I try not to leave links anymore. When I leave a link in the description, and that website you click on has another link to a fishy website, or let's say a not safe for work website, it comes back to me and my whole channel can be deleted.
I'm pretty sure that's not true. If you link a source in the description of a video, like if you link a source in the description of a video, and that source is a legitimate site, then why would your channel get deleted? Like, if this isn't a link to a link to a link thing that's going to get you specifically deleted. That's not how this works. I think this is just a fancy way of you getting around the whole share your sources thing.
But I write the names of the sources, I quote the websites, I give screenshots. Even with screenshots these days, I need to be careful because apparently I can get a copyright strike for leaking authentic confidential documents.
And like, I don't want to hate too much because I do this too. Like, if I'm sourcing something, I just use the screenshot and trust that my viewers are smart enough to figure out where the screenshot came from, because it will either have like the name of the outlet in the screenshot, or if it really means that much to you, reverse search the things that are in the screenshot. You know, like if I put a paragraph from an article on screen, if it's really so important to you to cross-reference that and I don't have a link in the description, just search the words in the screenshot and the first Google result will be the thing that I sourced. You know what I mean? So it's like, on one hand, I get what you're saying of like, it's just easier and more streamlined to not link everything in the description and to just trust that your viewers are smart enough to find this on their own if it's really that important to you. Because, you know, also some of us are just more trustworthy than others. I feel like my audience trusts me to not just lie to them or show you manipulated screenshots. If you're pissing yourself because you don't think people trust you not to fake screenshots, that might be your problem and no one else's. But I also think it's funny that now you're kind of like borderline whining about the fact that you can get copyright struck for showing screenshots of confidential documents. Like, you're trying to play the sympathy card because you can't put confidential documents on YouTube without consequence. I kind of just don't feel bad for you. That's just the way it be.
And I have a few, trust me, I have, but I'm not sharing them. Where do I have them from? I cannot tell you.
Oh. So that's why we're doing that. That's why we did that long explanation. It's so you can literally say you have no source. You just went through that entire spiel because you don't have a source. It's literally just a trust me, bro. I am actively peeing my pants right now. This is oh.
So you can believe me or not.
I don't.
What I can tell you is that you can look at my track record.
I don't have to. I know this is bullshit on its face. I don't have to look at your track record. Like 90% of the things you've said in this video are just stupid. Your track record could be perfect. It wouldn't change this video.
Last year, I correctly predicted all the details of the PS5 Slim, down to the smallest details, including the detachable disk drive, increased storage, better cooling system, release date, and more.
Yeah, but wasn't that stuff leaked from like a million different sources? That stuff wasn't really a secret, you know what I mean?
So the real question you guys should be asking is this. Do you think the PS5 Pro will have a 2TB version and a 4TB SSD version? This is a cool kind of question, you know? This is actually something worth discussing.
Notice how he's talking about SSDs and not games?
Sony would be insane not to launch the PS5 Pro with a minimum of 2T out of the box, and I'd gladly pay extra for a 4T version.
4TB consoles. Like I remember when 1TB consoles were like, whoa, that's big. And that was less than a decade ago. That was like the mid-gen of the eighth console gen where terabyte versions were introduced. And now we're up to 4. Fuck me, bro. Like, why are games so big now? Again, with the damage that AAA gaming is doing to the rest of the industry, it's fucking wild.
You need to understand something. Games are getting massive these days, surpassing 200 to 250 gigs per game. It's not unrealistic to expect this kind of storage from Sony, especially now when SSD prices are falling.
Oh, SSD prices are falling. I wonder why that's happening. Could it be that PC gaming hardware has a lot of competition within its own ecosystem and drives the prices down for the consumer? Could that be why SSD prices are falling? Could it be that having a gaming platform where all the hardware is locked for a decade at a time, that's not actually a good thing for you? That doesn't actually give any companies any incentive to make the product better for you or make the price more fair for you, the consumer? I thought it was the consumer who was supposed to really be the important one in these transactions. You know what? I'm done with this one. I've been recording for 46 fucking minutes. I don't know how long the video is. I don't know how much of this is going to get cut. 46 minutes and 52 seconds I've been recording. I cannot give you more attention than I already have. Because unlike you, I don't use AI to make my videos. It's just me with a laptop. You know what I mean? Like, it's just me. This isn't difficult. You don't need AI to make a dog shit video. I make dog shit videos on my own every single week. Thank you for subscribing to my dog shit videos. Okay, toodles.